We will be following in the footsteps of one of Britain's greatest rural poets. Walk the paths, woods and heaths that make up this fen-edge landscape and influence the work of John Clare. John Clare was an English poet, the son of a farm labourer, who became known for his celebrations of the English countryside and sorrows at its disruption. His poetry underwent major re-evaluation in the late 20th century. He is now often seen as one of the important 19th century poets. His biographer, Jonathan Bates, states that Clare was the greatest labouring class poet that England has ever produced. No one has ever written more powerfully of nature, of a rural childhood and of the alienated and unstable self. John Clare was born on the 13th of July 1793 in what is now known as John Clare Cottage, which is next to the Bluebell pub in Helpston.
Good afternoon everyone. As you can see, I'm joined by Kai.
Hi campers!
Who I have not seen for quite a long time.
It's been a while, yeah.
He's had, you've got a random free weekend, so we thought why not get out, have a giggle. So, we're in Cambridgeshire. We're in the little village of Helpston. So this is a 9.25 mile walk from Country Walking magazine. We're in the birthplace of John Clare, who apparently was a really famous poet. We're leaving Helpston and a lot of woodland on this walk, so the plan is we're going to try and wild camp, judging by the rucksacks on our backs. We're going to wild camp in a woodland. We're going to sort of use the walk as an opportunity to sort of scout out the area and finish the rest of the walk off tomorrow morning. I've got a 3x3 metre tarp and Rab Storm Bivvy. Kai has got your...
I got my Gore-Tex coffin, the Terra Nova Jupiter.
Lovely.
Lovely jubbly.
He's gone really lightweight, and I don't know, since I last saw him I've gone decidedly heavyweight.
Tom's become a glamper.
Yeah, and I've sort of cut a few little bits out. I've got rid of the table, everyone. The table's gone, but I've still got the chair. The chair's still there. My back's hurting a little bit, that's my excuse. Anyway, getting old. Anyway, yeah, so 9.25 mile walk, wild camp somewhere along the way. Got a couple of drinks. That's a train in the background. Got some food. It should be a laugh, this one. So, I think we're heading the right way. I hope we're not lost already. Right, we'll follow this. Anyways, you know what I'm going to say? Enough talking, let's get walking!
Clare grew up during a period of massive changes in both town and countryside as the Industrial Revolution swept Europe. Many former agricultural and craft workers, including children, moved away from the countryside to crowded cities as factory work became mechanised. The agricultural revolution saw pastures ploughed up, trees and hedges uprooted, fens drained and common land enclosed. This destruction of a way of life, centuries old, distressed Clare deeply. Clare's genius was his ability to observe and record the minutiae of English nature and every aspect of rural life, at a time when enclosures were transforming the landscape and sweeping away centuries of traditional custom and labour. Following great success with his first published poems, outselling even John Keats, Clare quickly became unfashionable, falling quickly into literary obscurity. The magnitude of Clare's achievement and poetic genius was not fully appreciated until the recent publication of a first complete edition of his poetry, much of which had remained neglected in manuscript archives for 150 years. Now scholars worldwide regard him as one of our leading poets, gradually affording the same status as reputed poet contemporaries such as William Wordsworth and S.T. Coleridge.
Right, we've just stopping for something to eat here beside one of the many woodlands on the walk. The weather is turned out really nice, sort of a bit sunny, we're quite warm actually. So I thought I've got to mention it. For lunch, Candice kindly made me some cheese sandwiches, and I said I'd mention it. She makes amazing sandwiches, bless her. Stayed over hers last night. Cheese sandwiches. Oh, and brown bread as well. Lovely jubbly. That's a blinding sandwich. Cheers you. I'm sure you'll be watching. Oh, that's lovely. Anyways, right, we'll get eating and we'll catch up with you soon.
His early work expresses delight in both nature and the cycle of the rural year. Poems such as Winter Evening, Haymaking and Wood Pictures in Summer celebrate the beauty of the world and the certainties of rural life, where animals must be fed and crops harvested. Poems such as Little Trotty Wagtail show his sharp observation of wildlife. Through the Badger shows his lack of sentiment about the place of animals in the countryside. At this time, he often used poetic forms such as the sonnet and the rhyming couplet. His later poetry tends to be more meditative and uses forms similar to the folk songs and ballads of his youth. An example of this is Evening. Clarke's knowledge of the natural world went far beyond that of the major romantic poets. However, poems such as I Am show a metaphysical depth on a par with his contemporary poets. Clare was the most influential poet, apart from Wordsworth, to write in an older style. In 1820 he married Martha Patty Turner. Soon, however, his income became insufficient, and in 1823 he was nearly penniless. Earl Fitzwilliam presented him with a new cottage and a piece of ground, but Clare could not settle in his new home. Clare was constantly torn between the two worlds of literary London and his often illiterate neighbours, between the need to write poetry and the need for money to feed and clothe his children. His health began to suffer and he had bouts of severe depression, which became worse after his sixth child was born in 1830 and his poetry sold less well. In 1832, his friends and his London patrons clubbed together to move the family to a larger cottage with a small holding in the village of Northborough, not far from Helpston. However, he only felt more alienated there.
Well, welcome back everyone. We've made it to Southey Wood where we're intending to try and wild camp tonight. We've absolutely smashed through the walk so far. We've done well over halfway, haven't we?
Yeah, well over halfway.
So we've got, did you say 3.75 miles left?
Yes, 3.75 miles left with the walk.
That's not too bad, so we'll be finishing that off tomorrow morning. And it is, what, coming up to 4 o'clock or?
Yeah, it's 4:45.
Quarter to four. Doesn't get dark till 5:30, 6 o'clock now, so we've got plenty of time. The weather's still really nice out. It's due to get a little bit colder tonight though, colder than normal, but we should be fine. So we're just sitting here on one of the Forestry Commission benches at the moment. There's a couple of people sort of milling about really, and yeah, we're gonna sort of head off into the woods and try and find somewhere sort of discreet, secluded, you know, away from the paths, and start pitching up at some point. So yeah, we're in no rush now, we're sort of at our destination, which is really good. Yeah, it's been good so far.
Yeah, real good.
Okay, we're in Southey Wood here, just near Helpston, and we've sort of had a little look around and explore, and we've come off one of the rides which came off of the main footpath, and we've entered this bit of a pine forest, you could say, Scots pines, and we've sort of found a couple of spots that we think look good. Kai's just behind the camera over there. He'll be setting up his his Terra Nova Jupiter hooped bivvy. So tonight I've got my red Rab Storm Bivvy, just a normal zip up bivvy bag, and I've also got the Lomo 3x3 metre tarp. And picked this spot because we've got some fallen trees and stuff here which could sort of help block us from view. The daylight's still on our side at the moment, so I'm going to probably have a play around with the tarp, try and get something like that sort of set up, like a pyramid, an enclosed pyramid, or one that's got like an opening, and do something like that. So I'll get back to you when I figured it out. Well, it's 6 o'clock now in the woods, and it's gone very quiet. We haven't heard anyone for a little while. We've just boiled up some water each on our stoves for hot drink. The temperature is starting to drop. All the shelters are set up, and yeah, I think we're just going to wait for it to sort of get a bit darker probably, and then maybe think about getting some grub on the go. So for dinner tonight, I've not got any ration packs, but I'll keep it nice and simple, keep it lightweight. I've got a Wayfarer beans and sausages meal, looking forward to that. And then a dessert, thought I'd treat myself, got a sticky toffee pudding, can't go wrong with that. Got a couple of ciders that I'm going to review tonight, and they're by Chaplin and Corks. So I've got this one here, which is their Somerset Reserve ciders. This one's 6.8%, rich medium dry cider. And then this one's a bit of a bad boy, this one. It's another Chaplin and Corks Somerset vintage cider. This is a vintage cider. This is 8.2%. It's a bit stronger, that one.
That's a wear a nappy job, that one.
a bowel destroyer one, yeah. Exquisite medium dry it's called, and yeah, 2016 vintage it says. I think, yeah, it's the Shepton Mallet cider mill. So I'll quickly read you the little blurb on the back here. It's the same on both of them. Our master cider makers Bob Chaplin and Bob Cork had a simple passion to make a cider to surpass all others. Using only fresh juice from the finest quality English apples, they pressed and crafted an exquisite range of ciders and distinguished them as Batch 417 at our cider mill to savour for their own enjoyment. The secret didn't last long, and word quickly spread just how special these ciders were. Here at the Shepton Mallet Cider Mill, we are now delighted to celebrate and share our range of Chaplin and Cork's legendary ciders. Excellent. So anyway, I'll be cracking those out later and I'll let you know what I think. Kai, which one do you think I should drink first? Let you pick.
Well, I think you should get the strong one out of the way first.
Do you think so?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
the bad boy, the bow destroyer.
The bow
Right.
destroyer, the nappy wearer, the good night sweetheart.
Oh, nice. I like that name for it. That'll be the first one out in a second. But well, as you can see, that's not even my head torch. That's Kai's. What head torch is that?
This is an Olight H. I don't know what it is now. H2R Nova.
It's brighter than the sun. It's brilliant. You're on filming duties then with that light, and it runs off one of those dildo batteries like my one, the big 18650 batteries. So anyway, yeah, as you can see by the attire, it has got a little bit colder. So yeah, Kai has very kindly chosen this one for me to try first. Was it the nappy wearer?
The nappy wearer, yeah. That's the good night sweetheart.
The good night sweetheart one, Chaplin and Cork's Somerset Vintage Cider, exquisite medium dry, the 8.2%er, and yeah, it's flat, so it's not fizzy at all. It's on the cusp of being a dry cider. I'm not a fan of dry ciders. It's not my favourite cider, I'm not going to lie, but I'm sure if you like your vintage ciders at home, and you know, not a fruit flavoured cider, you'd love this. But for me, that loses it points. But I like a cider to be fizzy as well, personally. Anyway, so yeah, it's you can taste the strength in it. Really, I don't know, you wouldn't want to drink a lot of these. You'd literally be on the floor, definitely. You know, soiled nappy. So, but drink. It's got a very slightly sort of smoky, like oak-aged kind of taste to it. Yeah, I'd class it as a posh cider. Anyway, so I'm probably going to give it. I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10, 5.5. So that's about average, really. So I mean, it's not awful, but it's not to my taste normally. But I'm still going to drink it because it's all we've got. So that's all we're drinking. The other one will probably be a little bit better because it's not going to be as strong. So, but yeah, I'll get back to you with that one once I've had this one. Cheers. Okay, well we've both had dinner and hot drinks. We've just been sort of chatting and stuff and putting the world to rights, and it's time for the final cider of the night. So another Chaplin and Cork's. This is a Somerset Reserve cider, 6.8%, rich medium dry. So it's not going to be as strong as the last one. So, cheers Kai for joining us on this one.
Yeah, cheers, thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure, never a chore. Okay, let's give this one a try. Yeah, it smells a bit more appetising. Yeah, it's still got that slightly smoky aged finish kind of taste to it. Flat once again. But nowhere near as dry and nowhere near as strong. Yeah, I mean, not really a lot else to say about this one. I've had similar tasting ciders before, really. So once again, not necessarily like my favourite type of cider, but it scores higher than the really strong one that I had before. So I would give this one probably a 6 out of 10. Really, so a little bit better, but I suppose it depends on personal preference. Just me personally, it loses points for the other one loses points, but yeah, it's okay. About average. So cheers. So it's just gone 10 o'clock now, and we're thinking of getting an early night so we can get up early and finish off the rest of the walk. I've only got about 3 miles left. We've been sat over there behind my Lomo 3x3 metre tarp. I'll explain that monstrosity in a minute. We're heading over to Kai's hooped bivvy bag set up. It's a thing of beauty, this. So it's similar to the Rab Ridge Raider hoop bivvy. Do you want to talk us through what you got?
Standard setup, Terra Nova Jupiter. The old, what's his name that does these?
Paul Stokes.
Paul Stokes.
Treadlight gear.
Treadlight gear. Reflective mat.
You got anything underneath that, or just that as your ground? That's cool. Don't need
Spiders
anything else.
galore.
Yeah, there's a lot of spiders building up in the shelters. Look at that.
Van Gogh Venom 300 down bag. X-bed medium pillow. Silk sleeping bag liner, and I've got the Thermarest Venture. Neo Air Venture.
Lovely, lovely.
Toasty and warm.
So you keeping your rucksack outside, or can you shove it in there?
I'll keep it outside. I'll just put it in a bin bag.
And
along with my boots, and I'll just put it outside.
So you got Osprey Talon 33 litre rucksack. So it's basically the same as mine. We've both got the same rucksacks on this trip. That was kind of deliberate on my part, except I think yours is a newer model and it's a nice shade of black. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's the newer model because it's got the it has the floating lid. You can remove the lid if you want to.
Oh, that's nice.
So it just means you can get a bit extra in the top if you really want to stuff it.
That's pretty good. For all you gear junkies out there, I do like that. nice kit setup. And how much does it all weigh in total, did you say?
So base pack weight for everything I've brought today was 6.9 kilos.
So in case any of you's out there unfamiliar with what base pack weight means, that's without water, without food or fuel, is it?
Yeah, and beer.
And beer, of course. That's the most important thing, yeah. The most important thing. That's a nice little setup, that. I'm quite envious because we're not forecast any rain. I've just been taking my hoop bivvy out too much lately, and I thought I've got to have a break from it, but you can't go wrong with a hoop bivvy. Right, on to my setup next. Cheers, mate. I've got Lomo 3x3 metre tarp. I haven't taken it out for a while. What I've done is I've rudimentarily strung up a ridge line from tree to tree, just to pull up the centre bit. I've got my trekking poles with me, but I thought safe space inside, you know, a bit more room. And of course you've got this door, which always reminds me of a wizard sleeve. No sniggering at the back. And you have to sort of climb in. I've nearly broke my bloody neck a couple of times trying to get in here. Right. Hang on. Oh. You have to get in through the door, but then once you're in, you get loads of room. So yeah, it's a pretty cosy little setup. So I can sit up in here, so I can get changed in here, I can cook in here, because of course it's ventilated, you know, there's a gap under the tarp. So it's the Rab Storm Bivvy, again the red one. Spiders everywhere in here, and yeah, I've got Tyvek ground sheet, silver coated mat. In that I've just got my Osprey Talon 33 rucksack, little rain jacket, a bottle of water, stuffed sacks. This is all my breakfast and stuff for the morning. Little cheap kneeling pad. The extra water that I've got. And yeah, what I've done with the trekking poles, by the way, the Outkit trekking poles, I've just sort of kept them at the shortest setting. I've just sort of wedged them up against the ends just to sort of push it up a bit at the back, at the head end. So I'll show you inside the bivvy. So inside, got my Go Light sleeping bag, the Venture 40 men's large, 800 fill goose down. So it goes down to 4 degrees Celsius, but I mean, to be honest with you, with all the extra layers I wear, it keeps me plenty warm. Haven't got a silk sleeping bag liner tonight. I left that behind. I know, actually, I think it's in here somewhere, actually. Tell a lie. This is Thermarest stuff sack pillow. So I've got spare socks, which are useful. Oh, it is in here, my silk liner. Okay, there we go. That's a Cedar Summit. Some fingerless gloves, a little Rab windproof sort of smock thing, some long johns which I have to stick on in a minute, sleeping, long sleeve thermal top. This is from Candice, a sleeping mask. I found they help me sleep better. And then as an emergency for when the shit hits the fan, I've got this Rab Arc emergency silver bivvy. So I don't plan on taking that out unless it's a real emergency. And of course this thing here, you turn it inside out, and I'm trying to do this one-handed, it's not easy. There we go. Turns into a pillow with that sort of soft lining, and put your clothes and stuff in that to make a pillow. OEX Evolution Fulcrum full length inflatable pad. Underneath I've got the Quechua silver foam pad full length, and yeah, it's going to keep me pretty toasty tonight. If that's not a big enough pillow, I dare say I can just put that underneath my head as well, but I'll put my shoes in that as well. So yeah, all the cooking gear's outside. I'll bring that in a second. Got tons of space in here. I've got the OEX chair set up next to me with sort of the rubbish and stuff on top of it. Everything's sort of neatly packed away, but I've got tons of space either side of the bivvy bag, so it should be pretty good. So I'll get some sort of like warmer clothes on, kick my shoes off, get in the bivvy bag, get some sleep. We're both going to aim to get up for around 7 AM, have a bit of breakfast, get some photos and whatnot of the forest, etc. Hopefully be sort of packed up and sort of heading out of here sort of before the dog walkers get here, or sort of just maybe just as they start getting here. So we'll sort of see really. We've only got 3 miles left, so should be pretty good. Nice, easy, straightforward route tomorrow. Looking forward to it. So anyways, you'll see us in the morning. It's good night for now. everyone. It's just gone 7 AM and just doing a little bit of breakfast. Sun's already come up, so I've got some Fuel protein porridge, golden syrup flavour, and a chocolate hazelnut butter Cliff bar. I've not tried that one before, could be interesting. And then hot chocolate Cadbury's and a Nescafe 3-in-1. That's my breakfast, and then for the remainder of the walk, just a couple of protein and energy bars really. I've got sort of just under half a litre of water left, so I'll probably add some kind of flavour into it and beverage powder to it, and have that for the rest of the walk to get me round. I think Kai's just doing breakfast in his bivvy. Slept okay. Luckily this time the mat didn't slide around as much, so it's just using the BCB Fire Dragon stove, so sort of similar to a solid fuel stove. This was the second stove I had with me. It's nice, quick and easy to set up, nothing can go wrong with it. Got a few of these sort of Fire Dragon fuel blocks with me. You can more or less use it inside the tarp because we've got plenty of ventilation all the way around the bottom of the tarp, of course, so it should be absolutely fine. Okay, we've all packed up, as you can see, leaving absolutely no trace. Sort of covered the ground back over with all the loose grass and stuff, and we've got all the rubbish with us. Kai's packed away as well, nice and tidy. Leave no trace, take only photos, as they say, and YouTube footage, of course. Right, anyways, I believe it's time for enough talking. Let's get walking. Off we go, back to Helpston. Claire's mental health began to worsen. As his alcohol consumption steadily increased, along with his dissatisfaction with his own identity, Claire's behaviour became more erratic. He was becoming a burden to Patty and his family, and in July 1837, on the recommendation of his publishing friend John Taylor, Claire went, of his own volition, to Dr. Matthew Allen's private asylum at High Beach near Loughton in Epping Forest. Claire was reported as being full of many strange delusions. He believed himself to be a prize fighter and that he had two wives, Patty and Mary. He started to claim he was Lord Byron. Allen wrote about Claire to the Times in 1840. It is most singular that ever since he came, the moment he gets pen or pencil in hand, he begins to write most poetical effusions. Yet he has never been able to obtain in conversation, nor even in writing prose, the appearance of sanity for 2 minutes or 2 lines together, and yet there is no indication of insanity in any of his poetry. During his first few asylum years in High Beach, Essex, Claire rewrote famous poems and sonnets by Lord Byron. Claire also took credit for Shakespeare's plays, claiming to be the Renaissance genius himself. "I'm John Clare now," the poet claimed to a newspaper editor. "I was Byron and Shakespeare formerly." In 1841, Claire absconded from the asylum in Essex to walk some 90 miles home, believing that he was to meet his first love, Mary Joyce. Claire was convinced that he was married to her and Martha as well, with children by both women.
He did not believe her family when they told him she had died accidentally 3 years earlier in a house fire. He remained free, mostly at home in Northborough, for the 5 months following, but eventually Patty called the doctors in. Between Christmas and New Year in 1841, Clare was committed to the Northampton General Lunatic Asylum. He remained there for the rest of his life under the humane regime of Dr. Thomas Octavius Pritchard, who encouraged and helped him to write. Here he wrote possibly his most famous poem, I Am. He died on the 20th of May 1864, aged 71. His remains were returned to Helpston for burial in St Boltoff's churchyard. Today, children at the John Clare School, Helpston's primary, parade through the village and place their midsummer cushions around Clare's gravestone, which bears the inscriptions to the memory of John Clare, the Northamptonshire peasant poet, and a poet is born, not made, on his birthday in honour of their most famous resident. Okay, so as you can see, we're back outside the Bluebell pub here in Helpston, where we started the walk yesterday. And yeah, that's the end of the video. It's been a good little camp, and it was a nice little walk. I want to say a big thank you to Kai for joining me. Cheers, mate.
Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me along. It's been a good one.
It's been a good one. It's always a pleasure. It's never a chore. So thank you very much at home for watching. Get in the comments and let us know what you think. And hopefully in the near distant future you may see Kai again.
Yeah.
Whenever he gets a free,
yeah. Whenever I get a weekend, yeah.
A weekend free. So it's, you know, this one was sort of planned sort of like last minute, spur of the moment sort of thing. So sometimes they're the best ones. So anyways, yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Get in the comments, let us know what you think. Thank you for your continued support. We'll see us again soon.
See you later.
See you later. Bye.
I am, yet what I am no one cares or knows. My friends forsake me like a memory lost. I am the self-consumer of my woes. They rise and vanish in oblivious host, like shades in love and death's oblivion lost. And yet I am, and live with shadows tossed into the nothingness of scorn and noise, into the living sea of waking dreams, where there is neither sense of life nor joys, but the vast shipwreck of my life's esteems. And e'en the dearest that I loved the best are strange, nay rather stranger than the rest. I long for scenes where man has never trod, a place where woman has never smiled or wept, there to abide with my Creator God, and sleep as I in childhood sweetly slept, untroubling and untroubled where I lie, the grass below, above the vaulted sky.